tribal chief.
If you've been following our videos for a while now, you may have seen the one we did pitching the idea of The Rock joining the Bloodline after WrestleMania. And well, that manifested quicker than we expected, as The Rock is already a full-fledged member, or maybe even the leader, of the Bloodline. And if you haven't seen it, go check that video out. But the crux of it all essentially was that a bunch of scattered appearances throughout a year for The Rock would be enough to have the story with him and Roman Reigns play out organically, culminating in a proper single showdown to see who is the one true chief of the tribe at WrestleMania 41. For now, the fact that we have a heel Rock is a blessing. He's one of the biggest movie stars in the world who is re-embracing the role of being a true pro wrestling villain, wearing those $700 shirts just like he did in his breakout years in the 90s in WWE, except it's 2024. And it was all thanks in part to Cody Rhodes and the fans turning the tide, and Rock turning with it. We have to admit, the idea of The Rock and Roman Reigns having a story play out within the Bloodline for the rest of 2024 into 2025 is easier said than done. The weekly TV pages turn faster and they are longer pages to fill, constantly keeping the fire burning on through social media and every other way that fans consume content, and never letting it lose steam in today's modern 24/7 media cycle is deeply challenging. How can you craft an elaborate story like that when there's little to no guarantee of how many times you can get The Rock on camera, or how many times you can get Roman Reigns on camera, for the story to keep going beyond the WrestleMania that's still in front of us? And we're just assuming that Roman versus The Rock could be locked in for WrestleMania 41. It's not that easy to have it play out every other week and drag it on that long. Yeah, with two part-time superstars. Who knows, maybe it doesn't even happen at Mania. Maybe that's an asset to the storyline in general, that wrestling fans will just have that desire to see them when they haven't seen them in a while. There's a lot of factors and variables that are still spinning around in this entire scenario. But we can feel it in the air. You can feel that tension between The Rock and Roman. At some point, we're gonna have to find out who the real big dog is in this entire situation. And it's simple, by having The Rock betray the Bloodline at WrestleMania 40. Yes, let's explore the possibility. Yeah. WWE's got a couple of things absolutely on point since that entire confrontation with Cody retconning us out of Roman versus Rock at this year's WrestleMania at that Las Vegas kickoff event, where The Rock slapped Cody, and it seemed like we got on track for him joining the Bloodline. First, Rock becoming a bad guy again. His persona fits like a glove and makes us way more interested in the road to WrestleMania rather than the generic good guy we've been seeing make those occasional appearances on Raw and SmackDown. And for the casual wrestling fans tuning back in to see that big movie star, wow, hey, have you seen that The Rock's a bad guy? You know, The Rock from the Fast and the Furious movies? He's a bad guy now. That appeal is certainly interesting for them as well. To add to it, his villainous turn is most likely going to make him even more popular than before. Just like we predicted in a previous Rock vs. Bloodline video. Yeah, you should seriously go watch that one too. It's going to be hard to boo him, but fun to boo him at the same time when he's just that damn good, slicing through every sold-out crowd that's been showing up for SmackDown recently with a fresh set of lines. Just like it became hard to boo him in 1999 when he break out with this so bad he might be good type character. And that's when he was pretty damn good, if you smell what he was cooking then, and you certainly are smelling it now. This alone makes it inevitable that we're getting that Rock versus Roman clash that could be far more interesting if Roman Reigns is maybe playing the good guy role, or who knows. The second thing that WWE did right with this entire storyline is instantly create tension between Roman and The Rock on the March 1st edition of SmackDown. We already saw it before that Roman Reigns was maybe physically uncomfortable and aggressively silent when The Rock was taking the lead on the microphone, maybe taking the lead from him. But the insecurity that's just seething under the surface that we've seen from him throughout the past 3.5 years was too strong to be held, and he forced The Rock to acknowledge him in an extremely tense moment. Maybe because he knows he can't lead the Bloodline anymore, and The Rock had to step in and help him. The Rock only hesitated for a moment before acknowledging Roman, but the silence between their lines was far too loud and powerful to ignore. It was something that was carefully planned and perfectly executed. It's something that may come to a head at WrestleMania in Philadelphia during that main event of Night 1, when The Rock and Roman Reigns are expected to team up together. If The Rock and Roman Reigns are the dominant duo who dispatch Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes at Night 1 of WrestleMania 40, then it could be a sign that they are in this to stay in the Bloodline, and he will be making multiple appearances throughout the year. But if he loses, then all hell could break loose. There's a lot of possibilities. The Rock put in a stipulation stating that if he and Roman Reigns lose on WrestleMania Night 1, then the main event of Night 2, with Cody taking on Roman for the Universal Championship, would have no Bloodline at ringside. While if they win, it would be Bloodline rules, whatever that might mean. This adds even more scenarios and dominoes to drop. Let's say Cody Rhodes is the one who pins The Rock on Night 1 in that tag team match, instantly frustrating him and Roman Reigns, causing a verbal shouting contest between him and The Rock. The Rock, not wanting to take any more crap, hits the rock bottom on Roman Reigns, takes out Solo Sikoa. Jimmy Uso, you're getting your ass kicked too. And if it's to that end, the association with the Bloodline is done, it'd be a wild scenario, kind of clearing the deck for Cody versus Roman one-on-one. Not the ideal scenario, but if we're working with limited appearances for The Rock, then it's kind of that route you have to take to get to WrestleMania 41. So Night 1 of WrestleMania 40 ends with The Rock standing tall despite losing, and this gives the Cody edge in terms of psychology, an advantage to finish the story and finally dethrone the evil hubris of Roman Reigns. The other scenario is the Bloodline, through all of their shenanigans, once again stand tall Night 1, with Rock and Roman somehow getting a win over Cody Rhodes and Rollins, stacking the deck even further with those Bloodline rules against Cody on Night 2. But no matter what, we just feel Cody is coming out of WrestleMania as the new WWE Universal Champion. Even greater odds stacked against him, and he still had the will of the people to win. No matter what, if Cody comes out of Philadelphia as the new WWE Universal Champion who dethroned this Roman Reigns, then the tension between Roman and Rock is going to get lava hot. Just how the big WrestleMania 28 main event between The Rock and John Cena was set up the night after WrestleMania 27, the same could happen for WrestleMania 41. Maybe that's what happens on the Raw after WrestleMania. Or maybe it happens a few days later on SmackDown, since, our tribal chief doesn't really want to work on a Monday. It does leave a bit of a vacuum for the rest of the year, and also leaves you a lot of room to play with Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. Where do they land after WrestleMania this year? Solo, on his own, maybe going solo, becomes the main figure, up until sometime around the summer when Roman Reigns returns with a big salty chip or chunk on his shoulder and stakes claim to a rematch against Cody Rhodes for the undisputed Universal Championship at SummerSlam in Cleveland. Roman once again falls at the hands of the American Nightmare. Solo Sikoa reaches the point where he realizes that he doesn't need to be under Roman anymore, causing him to increasingly neglect the tribal chief's orders until it's time for him to end his association with the Bloodline. In our last video about The Rock and the Bloodline, we spoke a bit about how the story needs to revolve around the fact that the faction will have to completely fall apart by 2025. The story Roman has to have after SummerSlam shouldn't be about championships. It should be about the utter and complete internal destruction of the Bloodline, and therefore his own identity in the process. It's where we can have a couple of big changes for some big names. So what if The Rock then teams up with Solo Sikoa at a premium live event, say Survivor Series, to face Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso? A little bit of that Civil War effect we've seen before, although it isn't any different than the Bloodline versus Bloodline matches that have been done here and there. Another idea would be have fresh names added to the Bloodline, because we know that without a new member, the story doesn't really have many legs to stand on. One possible addition is Tama Tonga, who's the adopted son of Aku, The Rock's uncle, since the former Bullet Club star from New Japan Pro Wrestling is rumored to have signed with WWE. He would make an interesting addition. But there's another big name who could also join WWE, and of course, the Bloodline. Jacob Fatu. He's only 31 years old, is a direct Bloodline family member who is Rikishi's nephew, making him a cousin of the Usos and Roman Reigns. He's a big star in the making and can instantly be shot up to top-tier status in WWE, has the reps in Major League Wrestling outside of the company, and with Roman Reigns as a part of this new Bloodline, he would certainly add a whole new element. And hopefully when The Rock comes back to cook up things, maybe as a good guy, maybe still as a bad guy, he will still be wearing the Versace shirts and those very expensive sunglasses and keeping elements of this current character revived from the 90s again. It's the exact reason why he became such a big star in the first place in the Attitude Era. He didn't need to change too much about himself after turning into a good guy in 1999. He just directed his insults towards the other characters and things blew up. It's going to be a long way in to generate interest for The Rock and Roman Reigns. So to conclude all of this, we once again would like to mention that while the idea of The Rock sticking with the Bloodline throughout the year could work, having him betray the Bloodline at WrestleMania 40 ups the stakes and gives you consequences for those actions down the road. It creates an entire year's worth of WWE stories that look forward to building not just a few characters, but many characters along the way. One that's going to be filled with ups, downs, twists, and turns, with everyone, hopefully, involved benefiting from it. Do you smell what we're cooking? Let us know in the comments below.